All right, up next we have my beautiful Virgo risings. So this is going to be your 2022 astrology forecast. I have my notes right here with everything going on, and I'm going to be pulling tarot cards for each event that's happening to kind of get more clarity about how that will play out for you guys. Before we jump in, I did want to mention that I have 2022 astrology readings that will be obviously specific to your personal birth chart, and that will give you so much more details and information. I also have a report that you can order that shows you all of the transits that are coming up this year that will have the biggest impact on your life and the days and kind of what that means for you. So if you're interested in that, that will be in the description box below. But let's go ahead and jump in and get started. I've been starting off with all the groups, talking about the nodes specifically. And you guys are having the North Node moving into Taurus, which is in your 9th house. So they're transitioning out of Gemini and Sagittarius and moving into Taurus and Scorpio. That's happening on January 18th, so just at the start of the year. And this will begin another 1.5-year cycle where we will experience eclipses along this nodal axis, which means that you're going to have a lot of changes happening in the 9th and the 3rd house. So wherever we have the South Node, especially in Scorpio, I'm seeing this as like a purging process. And I believe that the purging, since it's in your 3rd house, is specifically around your mindset, your communication, the way that you look at things, and even your busyness level, like kind of what you're up to. I see all of those things being adjusted. So maybe you guys are going to have to get really clear on how you manage your time, how busy you are, how social you are. Maybe some of you guys will have to cut out certain plans and responsibilities. And then other ones of you are really going to have to alter your mindset or communication about something. So your thought patterns, the way that you go about things, the way that you talk about things, the way that you view things, all those things are undergoing a deep metamorphosis right now. So I pulled the cards on the right to represent the South Node being in Scorpio, and the cards here on the left are the North Node being in Taurus in your 9th house. So I definitely feel like having the North Node in the 9th house is a very expansive energy. It's a time that is calling you to grow in your life, to do things that will push your boundaries that you haven't done before. So a lot of people might study something new or travel somewhere new or pick up a new belief system or religious aspect of their life. And I feel like you guys are growing into greater sense of confidence and success with this Queen of Wands, this Queen of Pentacles, the Six of Wands. These are all cards of success, of happiness. This is somebody with the Queen of Wands who follows her creativity, her divine insight, her wisdom. So having eclipses in the 9th house can give you guys visions about what to follow or what to pursue in order to fully live out your light. So in order to shine through your innate skills. And I think a lot of us are refining what those skills are and then what's possible for us once we understand what those are. And so I feel like you guys are finding out with the Queen of Wands how to really step into your gifts and own them in the world in a really proud and confident and self-assured way. You can see she has this lion here on her chest. And this to me is her being prideful and owning her creative visions. She also has this snake around her, so she has full control of this kind of kundalini chakra, I guess not chakra, but like sacral chakra specifically, energy, which is where the seat of creativity comes from, as well as our sexuality. So I can see you guys kind of stepping into both of those aspects of yourself, becoming really confident about the way that you come across and your sexual energy, as well as your creative energy and essence. And so that is going to help you solidify things in your life and turn into the Queen of Pentacles, this person who is so sure of herself. She's very disciplined. She knows how to set and stick to her schedule. She knows how to manage her finances. This is somebody who has taken her confidence and her skills and applied them in a really practical way. And because of that, she starts to see worldly success. So that's really what I'm seeing for you guys is worldly success, because after that we have the Six of Wands, which is all about recognition and our work paying off, people noticing us, people giving us raises or bonuses or whatever that it looks like for you guys. But having some kind of financial success looks like it's in the cards for you with having the North Node in the 9th house. And I think part of what that means is also that you guys are going to start having to believe that this is possible for you as well. So having you step into this queen energy and own your presence, own your visibility is really important. And the North Node in the ninth house is all about visibility. It's one of the top parts of the chart. The ninth, the 10th, the 11th house are the most visible parts of the chart. And so it's there that we begin to interact with the public, other people's ideologies, other people's beliefs, and kind of putting our manifestations out into the world with the support of the divine. Because the ninth house is a lot about us following our divine wisdom, our divine passion, and our divine downloads. And so I feel like you guys are really going to be owning yourself, owning your worth, owning your skills, and applying those to achieve a level of success. But with the South Node in the third house, you guys are going to have to leave behind certain either tasks that you're doing, like this level of busyness. And that's really what I see with the Four of Swords. I feel like sometimes with the South Node of the third house, we have to really evaluate our energy expenditure. And specifically, when we have the North Node in the ninth, it's about focusing on long-term visions. So what is going to build our success? What is going to eventually get us recognition? And not just doing the urgent things, not just doing the things that we know we need to do to survive today, but building that long-term lasting foundation. So having the South Node in Scorpio in the third house with this Four of Swords card, to me, is saying that you guys are coming back more into a restful state, or you're being called to rest a little bit more and reflect about the work that you are doing and its purpose or its meaning in your life. So essentially what I mean by that is, are you doing tasks that are running you around in circles and not making moves in your life? And can you reduce those? Can you cut those out? Can you work on the things that truly have meat or depth to them and long-term potential? And I especially feel like that because it's next to the Nine of Pentacles, which is about building our own financial security. So you guys might also not only have to cut away unnecessary or unhelpful busy work, but you might also have to get really clear on your money mindset. And I think next to the Three of Swords, you guys might have either some difficult experiences that have crept into your mind and have crept into your heart, that is affecting your level of being independent as well as financially secure. And I feel like it's a lot about healing some of those thoughts or some of those mindsets that have arisen from difficult emotional situations. So, for example, this can be anything that is inhibiting your success. It doesn't just have to be financially, but if you have had a relationship in the past and now they hurt you and now you're scared to open up again, and so you're closing off and becoming overly independent with this Nine of Pentacles, that is a warning for you. Or if you are worried about past financial decisions that you made and you have anxiety about that, and it's preventing you from believing that you can be financially successful on your own, that is a mindset shift that needs to take place. So there's a lot about the mind here with the South Node in the third house, where it's going to bring up situations that kind of trigger you to release these thought patterns that you have. So it's always going to bring stuff up so that we can address it, so that we can end it. And so that's what you guys might experience, a little bit of like a trigger with this Three of Swords. You might kind of encounter kind of similar situations that bring up stuff from the past. And then you'll have to make peace with it, essentially, so that you can move on. Now let's talk about Jupiter moving into Pisces. This is happening at the beginning of the year, December 29th specifically. And oh wow, you guys, Jupiter in Pisces, it's going to be here for most of the year. It will dip into Aries in May for a few months, but then it's going to come back into Pisces, which is primarily your 7th house. So you guys are having a lot of manifestation potential, a lot of abundance and nurturing coming in through your relationships by having Jupiter move into the 7th house. With the Magician and the Empress, I feel like you guys are going to be able to manifest a partner if that's something that you're looking for, manifest more clients if that's something that you're looking for, more community. Regardless, you guys are having this like really magnetic kind of attractive energy, and Jupiter in the 7th is giving you blessings to call in your counterpart, to call in your community, to call in these beautiful divine relationships. And I think with the Empress card, it's trying to tell me that you're going to have so many options. Look at all of her boobs right here. She's got so many ways to feed people, or to feed babies. She can literally feed so many babies because she has so much abundance on her. And that's what's happening in relationships. You're going to have so many people that you can turn to, that you can lean on or rely on at this time. And I feel like you guys are going to almost like be overwhelmed with the amount of fertility and abundance and manifestation powers that you are going to have in your relationships. Jupiter in Pisces in general creates a lot more compassion, optimism, understanding, and love for one another. And so the fact that it's transiting through your relationship sector is just going to increase that love and compassion that you have in your relationship dynamics. I think that's such a beautiful thing. All right, up next we're going to talk about the fact that Saturn is going to be alone in your 6th house. So Jupiter was in Aquarius with Saturn, and now it's moving into Pisces in your 7th house of relationships, giving you this abundance and manifestation, these connections, this support system that is going to feel really beautiful. But having Saturn alone in the 6th, now that Jupiter is no longer there, means that Saturn is left to its own devices. And Saturn in the 6th can lead to a lot of burnout. It can lead to a lot of struggle with maintaining responsibilities. So one day you feel like you need to do this, another day you feel like you need to do that, and then you realize you have so many different things on your schedule and you really don't have enough time for it all. Or maybe you do have enough time for it all, but that's because you're not sleeping. So it just has this energy of needing to put a lot of effort and energy into something, and with a little bit of a struggle there as well. Your health might also need to become much more disciplined. Wherever Saturn is where we need to become responsible and disciplined. So you guys, this is infiltrating your day-to-day work. So like how you show up to your job, how responsible you are in your workplace, how reliable you are, how effective you are, how productive you are. And this goes for business owners as well in their schedule and their day-to-day routines, as well as your health routine. So are you going to bed on time? Are you waking up on time? Are you eating well? These are questions that Saturn the 6th is going to bring at the forefront of your mind all year long and until March of 2023 when it finally leaves. So you have until then to really master this, which means that you're going to encounter delays or difficulties around that area of your life until you are able to sort of start to master it. So you guys are going to have some struggles, and that's in order to help you grow. And so again, the struggles, I already kind of talked about what those would look like. Overexhaustion, having trouble managing priorities. And it might be because you have so many new relationships coming through, so much positivity and growth in your connections. And so sometimes putting more people in your life takes away time. And so that might be something that you need to kind of take a look at for yourself. So I pulled the Strength card. I was hoping to get something else, but nothing else is really coming. The Strength card to me is you guys really trying to tame your wild instincts and have self-compassion and understanding throughout that process. The Lion here is representative of somebody or that part of ourselves that wants to do what it wants to do. And I was kind of talking about this, I think, in the Leo rising reading. So there's part of you that might want to be very social or might want to dive into these relationships. Or there might be part of you that has trouble like eating certain foods that are good for you. And it's taming that beast within. It's delaying gratification. It's being responsible and also learning a lot about yourself in that process. So it's refining the being. And this is the house of Virgo. It's the house before Libra, before we go and relate, before we go and connect and take our essence and mingle it with someone else's. So before we do that, we want to be the best version of ourselves. We want to be disciplined. We want to be on time. We want to live in integrity. And that involves a lot of us taming the wild part of our mind, the lizard mind or whatever people say, in order to get towards the higher mind or in order to live in alignment with our future values and our future ideals. I also have the 10 of Swords here. So some of you guys might be having some endings in a certain work or job take place. Saturn can often signify endings occurring, and there is going to be a time around. There's going to be time on April 4th. I'll talk more about this later, where We might experience some endings in the way that we make money or the way that we operate day to day. So the Ten of Swords is basically saying you are finally trying to push the last little bit to finish out this cycle of struggling, this cycle of difficulty where you're constantly battling against your ego to get to do the responsible thing on the day to day. So all of us have some aspect of that where we can improve. And this Ten of Swords to me is saying that you guys are on the last home stretch before you make a final turn of the corner where this isn't this repetitive cycle of learning that you have to keep going through. Is there anything else, Spirit, that you want to add about Saturn being in the 6th house? Sometimes this can lead to anxiety as well. That's something that I think can easily be seen with overworking, right? Being super productive, being always on, being on the go. This can lead to a little bit of adrenal fatigue and anxiety, so we can start to overthink. The 6th and 12th house are often associated with mental health issues, and Saturn is a malefic, a challenging planet. So it is here to make us look at our mindset as well and how we kind of cope with stress, cope with having a lot of responsibilities, and it's there to help us alleviate some of that. After that, we have the Emperor. So this to me is telling me that you guys are definitely achieving this level of structure in your life that you don't have right now, or that you're struggling with. There's like two parts of you that are struggling against each other, and you are a Mercury ruled sign, so you do have that changeable nature where sometimes you might be really good at it and sometimes you're not. I think that's for everyone, but especially Mercury ruled signs like Virgo. And this to me is saying that it's enough of that struggle. This some point between now and March of 2023, you guys are making a definitive ending of that and stepping into a much more responsible, structured version of yourself, where self-discipline and living in integrity in your higher self, all those things that I mentioned come very naturally to you. And with the eagle and on his chest and this ball in his hand, I feel like this is kind of telling me that you will have the future on your mind at all times. You'll have a greater perspective about what you are doing in the moment and how that is affecting you long term. And so I think that's what you're going to develop, is that discernment in the moment of how am I going to feel about this tomorrow or a week from now, and is this something worth investing my time and energy into, or is it better off to do something more responsible? In terms of lucky days or months, I should say, we can look at August and September as well as September. So the sun will be in your first house, August and September, if you're a Virgo rising, and Venus will be there in September. So these are your months to get a lot of things done, to have a lot of breakthroughs and realizations about yourself. And I think to do a lot of that kind of deep diving work and also attract more abundance into your life, more positivity, more satisfaction, relationships. All those things can come to you more easily these months. Now I'm going to break down some important dates for you guys, so you guys can write these down, keep them in mind, and I'm going to pull some cards for this as well. So the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that Venus is retrograding currently right now as I'm filming this in December in Capricorn, and it's hanging out with Pluto, and it will be retrograde until January 29th, and it will stay in Capricorn until March. So this is a long period of time in which we all are reflecting upon our value systems and our boundary issues and everything that has possibly ever gone wrong in our relationship with our self-worth, our significant other, our friends, and our money. So it's our time, or our family as well. It's a time when all the relationships come into focus and all of our values come into focus. For you guys, for this, this is all transiting through your 5th house of romance. So a lot of you guys might have some romance partners coming back from the past, or some kind of new dating predicaments coming into your life that you are now meant to analyze a little bit further and take action on that from a point of honesty with the Queen of Swords. It's also possible if romance isn't your thing, that a lot of this stuff is coming up with your children. The 5th house is about children, so your relationship with them, and maybe where you feel like you might be struggling as a parent, or where that dynamic between you and your child is breaking down. The 5th house is also our sex life. So some of you might find that some hidden parts of yourself are coming back about maybe unmet needs in your romantic or sex life that you feel like you need to address with your partner or within yourself in order to cultivate more of that happiness. And then the last thing is the 5th house is a lot about our creative expression and our way of having fun. So this can come about in the more lighthearted, kind of shallow or creative relationships that you have, you might have to start getting really clear about what it is that you're looking for in those dynamics in your life, and kind of just reassess your values in that area and see if you are making the artwork that you want to make, or spending the time how you want to be spending time, or if it's done more frivolously, or just kind of how you feel about it in general. So those are some things that's coming through for you with especially the first month of January, but then even until March as Venus is moving direct through Capricorn. And with the Queen of Swords here, I feel like it's a time to be extremely honest with yourself about what you want and what you need in whatever relationship this is. Relationship with yourself, with a partner, with children, or with money. It could be something, or with, with self-worth in general. So this is something where you're meant to look yourself in the mirror and look at that very clearly about what you need right now, and what is going wrong, what is going right. Like, lay it all out in a very firm way, in a very honest way. And I feel like from there, you're going to be able to make some certain judgment calls or decisions that can positively affect your self-worth and your relationships moving forward. Because after this, we have the Judgment card. And so I feel like you guys are awakening to a level of understanding of yourself that wasn't there before. And we have to have the issues come up within our relationships or within our money for us to see the dirt. We have to have the light shine on us to see what is dirty, what is wrong, what needs fixing. I shouldn't say dirty or wrong, but just like what isn't vibing with us, what isn't in alignment for us. And so this judgment card is telling us that not only are we awakening to that and becoming more honest and true with ourselves, but from there we're making decisions that kind of redirect our life course or our life path in order to live in alignment. And then after this, we have the Moon card. So one of the things that you guys are going to be really looking into or examining within yourself is shadows within the self, like things that you maybe haven't seen. Sorry, I'm trying to shut my light off because this light is atrocious right now. That's too dark. Oh, goodness gracious. The lighting is difficult because I'm recording the rest of this at night. Okay. Anyway, the Moon card is really here to say that you guys are here facing some shadows or some things that you've maybe hidden from yourself or from your partner, from some kind of dynamic. And so it's time to face those in a really honest way, wake up to them, be clear about them, discuss them transparently. And then lastly, we have the Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Swords is about acting really swiftly, and almost like, yeah, I guess it's like making changes. I kind of feel like this, I don't know, I feel like this card is talking a lot about maybe you seeing things really suddenly, very clearly, or things becoming really honest and transparent about issues in your relationship with your self-worth, money, or partner, or friends or children or whatever relationship. So the Knight of Swords to me is saying it's coming on very suddenly. This is something that you'll make decisions about really quickly. It's like it's coming out of nowhere almost, kind of thing. And so just kind of be emotionally prepared to adjust quickly with the information that comes in for you. So being agile, being adaptable, which you are as a Virgo rising, you are an adaptable sign. And so the Knight of Swords is telling you to not get fixed in any type of way of thinking or being, but allow the honesty of your truth, of your inner truth, to guide the way for you to do, to take certain actions, and be honest about these things that maybe you haven't been wanting to look at with this Moon card. So that's your first few months out of the year. Now let's talk about March 2nd, when Venus is conjunct Mars and Pluto in your 5th house. Okay. Yeah, let's take a look at March 2nd. It's weird because I feel like these cards are sticking together. Let me kind of move them on. You guys, your reading was so positive at the beginning with this North Node and 9th house. Okay, March 2nd, we have Venus, Mars, and Pluto in the 5th. And I pulled the Page of Wands. Let me actually just take all these cards away. I hope that you guys are having a fantastic day. And if you want to drop a comment for me, I would really appreciate kind of just letting me know what your life is like right now, because I love connecting with you guys. in any way, shape, or form. Okay. King of Swords, Page of Wands. What else? What else? What else? Venus, Mars, and Pluto in the 5th. So I feel like this is kind of bringing this whole situation to a head. Everything that I was talking about with like examining everything honestly, the King of Swords is right there as well with the Queen of Swords. Like it's the same energy, right? But it's just maybe a little bit more masculine with the boundary holding and with its way of kind of facing situations or facing the truth. So King of Swords, Page of Wands, and Strength. So yeah, I feel like, I mean, this is a continuation, like I said, of what's going on. It's all in Capricorn in the 5th house. It's a time to maybe get really clear about where you've been resistant with this King of Swords and the Strength card. I feel like maybe you guys have certain struggles in regards to relationships or money or self-worth that you've been fighting for a while, or that you've been, yeah, like grappling with in your mind for a while since the King of Swords is here. It's like feels very internal. And I also feel like with this Page of Wands, maybe some of you guys have been like excited about like potential of something. You know, the Page of Wands is like a brand new beginning, and the Wands is all about excitement and passion and creativity. So maybe there was something that kind of is on your mind that you are excited about its potential, but it's also important to be honest with yourself about where you might be struggling with that thing, or how something that you're struggling with could affect the potential of whatever this is. So the King of Swords to me is you guys really using your discernment and speaking very clearly. I kind of want to look up the King of Swords as well to see if there's anything else that comes through. Authority, analyzing, cutting through illusion and lies, logic, judiciousness, using thought creatively, taking comfort in the world of the mind, decisiveness, adept with language and voice. I think that you guys are coming from this Strength card where you're grappling with a certain energy, grappling with a certain indecision, not knowing how you feel about something that has a lot of exciting potential for you, something that like it seems like a great new beginning, but the Strength card is also saying that there is some level of struggle, and the Moon is here too. So there's some level of like unknown things or unspoken things or things underneath the surface that also make you kind of question whatever this is, whatever feels like this kind of newer type of exciting thing. And the King of Swords is you becoming really decisive, and at this date on March 2nd saying, I will or I won't move forward with this, and this is why. So it's like just using your logic and not so much your whims, not so much your emotions. The Page of Wands is here, so yes, there is a level of like passion there and a little bit of emotion. But at the end of the day, the King trumps the Page. The King is using its logic to make decisions that are mostly based from the head and not as much from the heart. So it's like you guys kind of grappling with this nature within you where I don't know what I want to follow. I have this part of me that wants this. I'm struggling with this. And I feel like you guys are finally making that decision on March 2nd when these planets all align, Venus, Mars, and Pluto in the 5th house, sorry. So now let's talk about what I was saying before about maybe having a change of job. Not sure if that's going to be the case for all of you, but I do see on April 4th, Venus, Saturn, and Mars aligning in your 6th house. So this is a time of, 5 of Wands, King of Cups. This is generally a time where you're really going to sink into this like whole idea of, I really need to get going with my schedule. Like, how can I balance these, maybe with the Jupiter 7th relationships and stuff I want to do with people and connections with taking care of myself, getting all my work done, being productive. That's something that you guys might face. It could be really anything, but just kind of getting really responsible with your health. All those things I was mentioning before, I feel like are going to come up around this date on April 4th for you to fully deal with or fully see. This is interesting because there's a lot more emotional stuff coming up for this day. So you guys got the 5 of Wands, King of Cups, Page of Cups, 7 of Pentacles, 9 of Cups, a lot of cups. So this is definitely maybe not what I was thinking in terms of like career as much, or maybe it is, but it's definitely not as like logical as how it was in March when you were making a judicious decision about how to manage something in your life. Like now, this is a very emotional decision. So things are coming to the forefront to be felt. And it might come on the back of a disagreement with somebody. Saturn and Mars aligning. I mean, Venus is there, so it's taking off the pressure, but Saturn and Mars together definitely creates combativeness. It definitely creates hostility or breaks in relationships, misunderstandings, and being in your sixth house. It could be with people that you potentially work with or people that you see day to day that are part of your kind of normal routine. So you guys might find that you have some kind of battle with them. So it could be internally, like, I don't know what to do about this situation. It could be that you have conflicting schedules. It could be that you have conflicting ideas or beliefs. This Five of Wands can be so many things, but there is some tension growing between you and your involvement with others. And so this is going to, I think, come to the forefront on April 4th, but it seems extremely beautiful. Like this conflict that comes up is here with Venus to create resolution, to create prosperity. And I see that with the Seven of Pentacles and the Nine of Cups. It's like if you're working with someone specifically and you have a conflict of interest, I see you guys working it out and achieving greatness, achieving success, and working together long-term as a Seven of Pentacles, or at least having a long-term plan and kind of knowing where you want to go. It doesn't feel like this fight or this not seeing eye to eye derails anyone at all. The Nine of Cups is the perfect indicator of having successful resolution, of having things feel really fruitful in your career, like things are paying off. So maybe the Five of Wands indicates like an uphill battle. If this is specifically just talking about work and not someone else, being in the sixth house, you might find that you're putting out so much and not really getting it back. And so the Five of Wands could feel like this struggle with, you and the energy of the world, where you're not like getting your needs met in terms of career success or in terms of your job, where you're putting so much energy into something. And this is telling me that it does end up working out, and that as long as you're playing the long game, you guys will achieve your level of happiness and success that you have in mind as you're hearing this. The King of Cups and the Page of Cups here telling me that you guys, I do kind of feel like this is maybe you working with somebody, because there's so many cups energy. It feels like very emotionally fulfilling. And at least for me, one of the most emotionally fulfilling things is connections. And that's what cups a lot about. Like water and cups are all about connection and mutual love and understanding. So this might be you guys working with somebody. It could also mean that you guys are really coming in here and taming your emotions, or maybe there are two people in this equation. If there's kind of like a discord going on where one person's really emotionally mature and the other one is kind of more hopeful and naive, but showing up to try to give to the situation from an open heart, but maybe doesn't have as much like maturity or discernment as the King of Cups, if this is two people specifically. So you might find that you're in some kind of scenario like that, but you guys work it out long term and achieve success and happiness. If it's not like that, I just feel like you guys maybe are going through some interesting phase of having like yourself developing a lot of emotional maturity and discernment, but then also having to maybe work on another area of your life and kind of be starting at the beginning. So maybe there's some things that you've mastered emotionally, or some things that you've mastered in your life. With the Page of Cups is saying, maybe I'm starting over with something, or maybe I have a new beginning happening with some other area of my life where I don't have as much like self-mastery. So there's lots of different ways I can interpret this, but essentially I feel like this is for a lot of you going to be work related. But with the cups, it could be kind of associating work and relationships, since that is such a theme for you guys this year with Jupiter in your 7th house anyway. All right, let's take a look now at Jupiter conjunct Neptune in your 7th house. This is happening on April 13th. So this is one of my favorite aspects of the year for you guys specifically, because it just kind of creates this idyllic type of relationship. It's perfect for hanging out with friends, getting lost in somebody's eyes kind of thing. Like it's perfect for love, for romance, for friendship connections, just deep soulful kind of connections. And I pulled the Queen of Cups as I said that. So I definitely feel that for you guys. the seventh house is just the most beautiful house to have this energy in, because it's really not about working hard and everything. Like, these are planets that want to show love and compassion and enjoy each other's presence. And so it's not so much like putting your nose to the grindstone as much as it is, which is funny because I just pulled the Knight of Pentacles, which is all about that. But yeah, it's about enjoying. And I do feel like with the Queen of Cups, you guys are entering into a new level of enjoyment. We also have the Six of Swords and the Hermit. So I do feel like you guys might be moving on from something. The Six of Swords is a transition phase, leaving some chapter of your life behind and entering into a new one. And it's spiraling you into a deep reflection period where you're really getting to know yourself or somebody else during this period of time. This could be getting to know like a new romantic connection, a new friendship, or maybe transitioning out of an old one and getting to know yourself more intimately. There is this process of like diving deeper into one's soul and moving from one chapter to another. So it's like not your previous self, not this old dynamic, but committing to someone or meeting someone new and leveling up in that relationship, or just kind of like a deeper intimacy I'm seeing here, like leaving behind the comfort of self-protection and opening up your heart with the Queen of Cups and being extremely honest about what you see and what's inside of you to somebody else, because this is definitely about a connection. Maybe for some of you it could be about work connections, it could be about your relationship with yourself, but generally the seventh house is you and someone else. With the Knight of Pentacles, I feel like this is also saying that there is something solid here that to stand on. You do have the Six of Swords, which is about movement, transition, changing. But the Knight of Pentacles to me is saying that you're moving towards a solid foundation. You're moving towards putting more effort and more work into something. You're building something underneath the Seven of Pentacles. It has that same vibration of consistency, effort, long-term goals. And so I do feel like this is some type of relationship, again, with yourself or others, where you are leveling up and putting more energy in to make it more solid and coming from a place of really deep reflection and self-understanding. That's beautiful. That is happening again on April 13th of this year. Now let's talk about April 30th when we have Venus conjunct Jupiter and Pisces in the 7th. So talk about relationship stuff. This is a time when relationships become super, super, super focused on. You know, we know that Venus is already a relationship planet. So now that it's aligning with Jupiter in your 7th house of relationships, it's expanding upon this dynamic. So some of you guys are going to be having an ending. Let's pull, what is ending? The Nine of Pentacles and the King of Wands. I mean, when I see the Ten of Swords, it's like something is ending. The Four of Swords is like reflection, rest, recuperation. But it's like, if I saw this, I would think it's a breakup. But because we have Venus and Jupiter there, there's just, not that there's no way it's a breakup, because that's, of course, possible on April 30th. But Venus and Jupiter are about uplifting existing relationships. They are about making people feel good and wanting to be in them more. And so I don't see in this context as being an ending in relationships. I feel like it must be some type of internal ending with next to the Four of Swords. And I feel like it might be for some of you guys some level of self-reliance with the Nine of Pentacles. Maybe there have been ways in which you have been scared to lean on people, or you just haven't, or you've had trouble receiving, or you've had trouble opening up. And so you kind of have built this solid foundation within yourself to take care of yourself, to nurture yourself, and you know you have your back. Great. But I feel like that same solid foundation can also prove to be a little bit of a wall. And with this King of Wands, I kind of see this King of Wands as a little bit of like this really like flirtatious, kind of charismatic person, somebody who is like really out there and connecting in the community. And yeah, I almost like a flirt, like an independent, like flirt type of energy. Some of you guys might already be in committed relationships, but you might find that even in those relationships that you have this really dynamic, passionate kind of personality, and you're quite independent and self-reliant. And I feel like for some of you, those things might shift a little bit. Not that you are losing passion and losing charisma, but that it might direct itself in a little bit of a different way. You might start internalizing some of this. I'm just kind of curious because I feel like this King of Wands. Let me pull clarity about the King of Wands. The Wheel of Fortune. I feel like there is maybe some cycle ending here for some of you around, yeah. Okay, so I just pulled another card. The camera stopped. I was just kind of like thinking and arguing with myself. But yeah, I feel like you guys with the ending here and the going within, I think part of what is transforming is, again, becoming a little bit less self-reliant. So opening up to people, opening up to receiving. And then I do think with the King of Wands, it's like I pulled this card that says observe, perceive, and scrutinize. So there might be, for some of you, ways in which you like have a lot of energy and charisma and like flirtatiousness, and you're like examining that, and you're examining maybe your need for attention. And like I hate to say that because it sounds really negative, and like Virgo risings are really not like that in general. So that's why I'm like so hesitant to share this message that I feel like I'm getting. But I feel like you're becoming really clear, like you're looking at yourself very clearly and seeing ways in which maybe you are performing, or maybe ways in which you are protecting yourself, trying to be like perfect, maybe. The King of Wands, like wooing everyone or being this amazing person all the time, and like kind of having an ending to that and being really accepting of yourself, really loving of yourself for who you are, and like letting people in, letting people take care of you, not having to like prove yourself or be this amazing like charismatic person all the time. Like you can just be you, and you don't have to be this person who always has their shit together either. Like you can just be you and show up to a relationship and be held and be loved and be accepted. And that is what I feel like you're going to experience around April 30th with Venus and Jupiter. It's just like people fully accepting you and loving you for who you are. Okay, so I'm going to clean up these cards because we're getting a little too excited over here. But I feel like it's ending some kind of cycle, you know, with this Wheel of Fortune. It's like you're starting to change the way that you show up in relationships, and like change your understanding of what people want, need, expect from you, and like dropping a lot of that pressure, which Virgo tends to put on themselves. It's not like this flirt necessarily. It's just like, I'm this amazing person, and like I have to be perfect, and like everyone love me. And like sometimes you can just be messy. You can just be human. You can just make mistakes, and people accept you and love you anyway. And that is the unconditional love that I think you're going to start to experience. And you're going to scrutinize that part of yourself that is overly scrutinizing, if that makes sense. Like you're going to put the observer on the part of you that makes you feel like you need to achieve some level of perfection, because it's not true. Okay, the next day that we're looking at is July 1st. We're having Mars and Aries in your 8th house square Pluto in your 5th house. So I kind of think that this is connected to what's going on in March, where Venus, Mars, and Pluto are in your 5th. So, because we're still talking about Mars, we're still talking about Pluto. So it can be connected. It might not be, but it can be. And this square, you guys, this square, what is that about? Pluto in the 5th can really draw your attention to your social sphere with these 3 of Cups, especially like going out with friends, having drinks, doing what you want, seeking pleasure and joy. It can ask you like the deeper questions around that. Like, hey, why am I doing this? Or what is this giving me? And with the Mars square to Pluto, it's creating a little bit of a challenge there. Mars square Pluto can create a lot of ambition, a lot of drive, but that's usually coming from some kind of like conflict. Like I need to achieve this because I feel like I need to prove myself, or I need to or I'm having this like dire consequence in my life if I don't reach this level of success. Like there's some like level of pressure and anxiety and tension from Mars squaring Pluto that asks you to achieve something. But it's interesting because this is all about like relationships and enjoying those dynamics and sharing with people and being intimate with others. And it's like, I think that you guys are wanting with this Mars square Pluto to create this kind of really balanced dynamics in your relationships, and you're willing to walk away from things that are not fulfilling you. And so I think that that can really come up in July 1st, where you start to see maybe holes in existing relationships or existing habits with relationships that you're like, wow, I really feel like this isn't showing up the right way, so I'm going to transition into something else. Or I feel like I'm not getting my needs met emotionally. I'm this mature person. I'm this dedicated individual, and this person isn't doing that back. So I'm going to transition. So you kind of see where the party friends are, where the real friends are. You'll see who is delivering that equality to you with the Six of Pentacles. And you'll see maybe also where you haven't been giving as much, or where you could be more patient, more loving, more understanding. So it can bring up conflict for you to kind of weed out these poor patterns or poor friendships that are not equal. Okay, I want to talk also on August 1st, you're going to have Mars conjunct Uranus in Taurus in your 9th house, squaring Saturn your 6th, sextiling Venus in Cancer in 11th. So this one has a lot of energy. I feel like I'm just pulling the same cards, so I need to like do a real shuffle. Sometimes these cards just love to stick together. Nuts. Sometimes they flow really easily. Other times I'm fighting with them, you know? And if you want to drop in the comment, I would love to hear like your favorite decks that you use, if you use any tarot decks or even oracle decks. One of my favorite oracle decks, and actually how I got started with all card readings, was a deck gifted to me by my beautiful friend Kimberly from Intentionally Intuitive. She gave me this Kuan deck. Let me actually go grab it for you guys, because maybe some of you guys will have a breakup this year and you will want to have this deck on hand, or any kind of emotional hardship. I'll be right back. All right, this is the deck. The Wild Kuan Oracle. You know what? I kind of want to pull one for you guys. I felt called to get this out. There must be something here. So I'm going to pull one of these for you guys. And I highly recommend this to heal your heart. It has really beautiful, honest perspectives, while also being extremely gentle. And I feel like its messages revived me from a toxic relationship, from a really challenging emotional experience. I'm not going to get into it here, but I would love to chat with you guys. I wish you guys were in front of me so we could talk about all this. But this has been super powerful for me. So I'm just going to spread it out and pull one for you guys. What do my beautiful Virgo risings need to hear? Pull two. And the messages are kind of long, so I might not read them fully. All right, so I got Sister of Shambhala Shows the Way and Desert Harvest. 43 and 22. Let's look at 43 first, since that came out first. You have many brothers and sisters who are guiding you now. They understand where you are on your divine path and how to successfully navigate all matters of concern so that you can cross the threshold from the old world to the golden temple. Your prayers for your purpose to be revealed and to manifest have been heard, as your prayers for help in all matters, and you shall be shown the way through, supported every step of the way. Shambhala is a sacred spiritual place where many highly advanced spiritual beings are said to reside in service to the spiritual evolution of humanity. The only difference between these beings and the rest of humanity is the degree to which their will is in alignment with the divine. This oracle brings you a nudge on your path from the holy ones, a loving but definite push in a particular direction to fulfill your divine destiny. You feel the guidance for what steps you need to take and when, and from within your heart. If you ever waver into impatience or confusion, come out of your head and listen closely to your heart. You will know what you need to know and when you need to know it. Trust in the beings that love you unconditionally and trust in yourself. This seems like all about receiving spiritual guidance on your path to knowing the right direction for you. My goodness, my camera is gonna die. You guys, your reading has been interrupted like 6 times. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully I can finish this before it does die. So some of you guys might be really wondering what your purpose is, and this card is telling me that this year, especially with the North Node and the Ninth, when the vision becomes clear and the divine communicates to you, that you will get the seedlings about what you want to follow in order to discover that purpose. So it might not be your purpose on a platter, but you will get the seedlings within your heart. So trust that inner knowing, because it's going to lead you to your purpose if you have not found that. And if it's a relationship, it could be that as well. Desert harvest. So this one says, many of my divine children take time to cultivate their offering to the world. Your soul, even with your fire and ambition, is capable of great patience, endurance, hope, and faith. These spiritual qualities allow for the development of a truly exceptional offering to the world. Rest assured, my divine one, it's never too late. In fact, your time for full blooming is just now starting to come into view. From the night blooming flower to the oasis, from the creatures that have adapted to thrive in desert conditions to the sudden swift eruption of life that abounds after precious rainfall, the desert teaches us about life. Life in the desert in particular demonstrates the power of creative, adaptable intelligence, that aspect of the natural world that learns to thrive no matter the odds against it. The oracle of desert harvest comes to you with tidings of life and fertility in the face of odds to the contrary. When your life doesn't seem to be moving in the right direction and you cannot find your way, you may fall prone to doubts. Spiritually speaking, you're in the desert yearning for water. The improbable, the difficult to launch, the creative dream that seems ridiculous will be, and the Divine Mother will delight in another of her improbable creations. Such is her irrepressible sense of play, humor, and divinely defiant will. So I think that some of you guys are feeling like you are in this drought of not knowing either what to do next, or you are pursuing it and you're not seeing the next, like the fruit come from your efforts. And I think that what this is saying is to not give up. The 9th house is not only about receiving divine wisdom about the next steps, but it's also about us maintaining hope and faith and trusting the divine for these things to unfold in our highest good. So these things are trying to tell you that it is coming this year, to have faith, to have hope, and to trust in the guidance delivered to you. All right, I'm going to change my battery, and then I'll come back to finish the last couple of things. Okay, now let's look at the last thing, which is what? I wanted to talk about. Okay. So I think I could have talked about this and then skipped over it. I want to talk about Mars with Uranus in the 9th house, conjunct, squaring Saturn in the 6th, and sextiling Venus and Cancer in the 11th. Sorry, your reading I feel like is the most all over the place, and I kind of feel bad. Mars and Uranus is going to bring this sudden change or sudden insight. And being in the 9th house, it could be some idea that we have, some kind of vision about the future. And we got the 10 of Swords. You guys are getting 10 of Swords a lot, as well as the King of Cups. And yeah, so Mars and Uranus can bring that sudden insight, like that desire to kind of change directions really quickly, or even kind of, I mean, I do think that's ending something here. Not everyone is going to have an ending, but Mars can facilitate endings. And with Uranus, it could be like a sudden ending about something that you kind of saw going somewhere. And with the square with Saturn and the 6, it could be work related, or it could add tension into your daily work life or your daily routine, where it's like, I was going in this direction, I was doing this thing, and now I don't want to do it anymore. And with square Saturn, it's like, but I have certain responsibilities. I can't just quit this thing. I can't just stop that thing. It's going to affect my life in this way. It's going to affect these dynamics. But it's making a sextile to Venus and Cancer in 11th. So there's a lot of support from those around you. There's a lot of love from those around you that can help you get through that. I think you guys are going to be ending the Ten of Swords, the World. There's some kind of cycle finishing up here. And then the Hanged Man is like, the cycle finishing has a lot to do with your change of perspective, which is all about Mars in the ninth house. And Mars and Uranus in the ninth house is like a realization. Boom, this is what I think. This is what I believe. And because of that, I have to adjust what I do. And I think it's going to really affect you on a deeply emotional level, but it's going to make you so much more happy and fulfilled. And with the support from your friends, it will help you overcome this square with Saturn in the sixth house, where there might be certain daily responsibilities or certain obligations that exist that don't necessarily align with this change in beliefs or this change or this ending that you want to create. So there's some kind of like hurdle that you have to overcome, but you have a lot of emotional integrity as well as support from your loved ones in order to do that. And because I pulled the Nine of Cups first, I feel like it's maybe a change about something that you've always desired. That's kind of what I was saying before. All right, the last thing I want to look at is Mars retrograde in Gemini. So this is going to happen in your 10th house. And Mars retrograde in the 10th house is happening from October 30th to January 13th of 2023. And Mars retrograde is not really the best time to take action on new things. So if you do have some like career stuff come up that you want to initiate pretty much November to January, mid-January of the following year, like don't really do it. It's more of a time to analyze existing commitments in your career, existing objectives, rather than to try to go after something brand new. We have the Hermit, the Judgment card, the Ace of Swords, the Seven of Wands, the Tower, and the King of Pentacles. So that's interesting. I definitely feel like with this, there's so many cards about like re-examining the foundation of things. Like the Hermit card is telling you to go within. The Judgment card is saying that you're awakening. The Ace of Swords is that you're having sudden clarity and honesty and truth about certain things. The Tower is about old things crumbling. The King of Pentacles is about your foundations and your finances, and like the things that are staying long term. But the things that weren't meant to be there in your career will start to crumble. And the Seven of Wands is like, even though it's crumbling and burning down, I will rise from the ashes as a phoenix and be much more confident and much happier in my career. So I think a lot of you guys are going to reevaluate some serious things in terms of life path in that retrograde period from October 30th to January 13th. And it could be that you're keeping your career, right? The King of Pentacles is here to me that that's indicating that there is some foundation that's existing that is going to maintain itself. And you're going to keep producing that, keep going along that path. But the Tower card to me is saying something else is changing in your career, like some approach that you're taking. Maybe if you have a business, like one of the offerings that you have is going away, or maybe it's like it could even be like what you think about certain things in career. Or even like kind of what, I don't know. I don't want to even be like fishing around for other examples, but to me, just generally the Tower is telling me that something wasn't working in your career, some manner of doing something, or some little part of it, or big part of it for some of you that is falling down. And I think it's just making way for a lot more peace, a lot more like alignment with the self. And that's always how life is, right? We're taking on all these new things, we're trying things out, and then the things that aren't meant to be fall away. That's like the same message that I'm giving over and over and over again. And that's because that's what that is, right? Like that's how life works. Just like we have cycles with the earth, it grows a new flower, and then the flower dies and falls, it goes decomposed, goes back into the tree. Just all these things are just this cycle of life. And so I do think that some of them are meant to stay. We have trees that exist for long periods of time. And I think you have the King of Pentacles here saying you have a foundation that's staying. It's not going to rock your whole foundation to its core. It's going to get rid of the dead flowers, get rid of the dead leaves. And it's going to, with the Seven of Wands, kind of like how you burn a forest. There's so many new things that start to emerge from that. That's really what's happening for you guys. It's going to give birth to new ideas and new things by releasing and reflecting on what things aren't working. Because Mars is all about action, but when it goes retrograde, it's about inaction and reflection on the action. And it's also about like stopping things. Mars is about endings, cutting things away. So having that heavy, intense period of reflection can equate or end up in cutting things away. So now the last thing I'm going to end with is I'm going to pull an animal card for the start of the year versus the end of the year for you guys. So you're starting off the year with the unicorn and the beaver. So I feel like you guys with the beaver are working hard on something. You guys are diligent. You guys have your focus. You are maybe spending more time at home or on working on things within the home. And I just feel like it's you being diligent. But then the unicorn to me is kind of like there is still part of you that is maybe like feeling really mystical, feeling really magical, but almost like living in a little bit of an illusion because the unicorn doesn't exist. So I feel like there's this really practical, diligent, hardworking side of you, and also part of you that's like really dreamy and really hopeful, and maybe it's not fully grounded in reality. So there might be a mix up of these two energies at the start of the year, and how you end the year is a nightingale, which is all about expressing your voice and sharing your truth, living according to your truth. And so I feel like you guys might step up in a really big way in owning your voice, which is beautiful, having the South Node in the third house. The South Node is all about releasing certain thoughts or ways of communicating, and I feel like it's going to help you tap into your truest voice after that. So if you have any blockages, the South Node in the third house is helping you release those and open up the throat chakra. So it's a really good time at the start of this year to journal or reflect on ways in which your throat chakra has been diminished or harmed or hurt by others, not listening to you, not accepting you, not understanding you, not receiving you, and ways in which you might fear speaking up or fear things, kind of holding things inside essentially. And so the nightingale is telling me that at the end of the year you are fully expressed, you are fully open, and the South Node purging through the third house is helping you do that. So that is what I'm seeing for you guys, Virgo rising. That was a long message that took a long time to come out, but I hope it resonates. And if you guys want a 2022 reading personalized for you, that will be in the description box below. And I hope you have a dope ass day. Bye.